Bali has changed dramatically in just 12 months, and because of it, a lot of people are getting up and moving. But I wanted to make this video so that by the end of it, you'll understand what's really going on in Bali. What are the changes, and most of all, how much does it cost to live on this island that so many have called paradise? Bali is known as the island of the gods. And when I first landed here in 2016, I would have told you I felt like I was in heaven. With just $2,000 in my bank account, this island was a world of opportunity. I could buy breakfast for $3. I could visit a jaw-dropping waterfall for 50 cents. And I could get myself an incredible and private villa for 50 bucks. Oh my God. Woo! And back in that day, Canggu was a few hip restaurants surrounded by green rice fields and an amazing surf. But the truth is, much of this is now a distant memory. If there's one thing I've seen, it's that while the rest of the world may be changing quickly, Bali is Usain Bolt. The changes are happening at a rate at which nobody could have predicted. To start this video, I want to give you a 2023 breakdown of how much it costs to live in Bali. From there, I want to go beyond the cost and talk about the changes in the experience of being here. And then I'll share with you a 2023 month-by-month breakdown, including all budgets from low to high. To really understand the cost of living, I've broken it down into different categories. The first has got to be food, because it's the one category we all need to think about, unless we're like a Bali model. Is that insensitive? Now, as you know, this video is about the change of Bali, and food prices is definitely something that's changed. I'm talking about a 35% price increase in the last few years. And in the scheme of things, inflation, etc., it's actually not that bad, and it's definitely not the price tag that's changed the most in Bali. But I'll share with you the 2023 prices. Now, one of the things I love about Bali is that the price of eating in a restaurant is often the same as cooking at home. So if you're going for breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a restaurant, the costs are relatively similar. You can do things extremely local and get yourself a nasi campur, a nasi goreng, a mee goreng if you want to switch the rice for some noodles, and ultimately you won't get a lot of protein, but you will get a filling meal for about $1 to $2. These kinds of meals can be found in what's called warungs, but you even need to look for the local warungs because the tourist ones are going to be double and triple that price. However, if you're looking for a Western meal, let's say a burrito, a pasta, a pizza, you're looking at a price of roughly 90 to 120,000, and that probably doesn't include your drink. Now, these prices are very standard of my day-to-day meals. Yes, you can find cheaper and you can certainly find more expensive. For example, Ruby and I had a nice little date night the other night where we went to a really high-end steakhouse on the island. That meal was about $75 to $100 per person, and that's with sparkling water, not with alcohol. Could have easily gone well beyond that, but ultimately it's still about half to a third of the price of a steakhouse in the Western world. Now with drinks, this is also something that can vary madly because you can get a 50-cent water from the corner store, or you could pay $2 for it. You can get yourself a cocktail for $3.50 at a dive bar, or you can pay $15 at one of the high-end bars. If you're a big drinker, just know that at the end of this, you're gonna have to factor in your own premium. Now, when I first got to Bali, I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a restaurant. I couldn't get over it. It was such a luxury to be able to afford that, especially coming from Canada. But eventually, I wanted to get to work. And one thing you'll know in Bali is that when you go to a restaurant, it's an hour at least. The solution is Gojek. And so I deliver most things to my house. Because of this, I pay about a 15% premium to the restaurant, and I pay anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 for the delivery fee. For the convenience, it's worth it, but it does raise the price. Now, you can definitely cook at home, and Ruby and I often do. Ruby loves to make an amazing breakfast, but ultimately, because we're ordering specialty ingredients, I feel like we're probably not saving much money at all. But I would like to think we're eating healthier, and Ruby is a fantastic chef, so no complaints. My guess is with all the amazing food I am eating on a daily basis, I'm probably averaging $35 to $40, which is about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. So look, the price changes in food definitely has me drinking a lot more coffees from home, but the main thing that is absolutely changing the price tag of Bali is the accommodations. We're talking double and triple the price in the last 12 months. Now we'll talk about why in just a moment, but what you need to know is it's not affordable anymore to find yourself a private villa. In fact, you might not even be able to find one even if you have the money set aside. When something's on the market and it's interesting, it's gone the next day. So here is the full range of prices in 2023. You can get an entry-level home in Denpasar, which is not the hotspot. It's where a lot of the locals live and commute from to come work in Canggu. But if you're really looking to save your money, you can find yourself a room with a fan, no AC, for about $800,000. Kind of like the way you can get a $1 breakfast, you can have a room that costs $60 a month. But most people coming to Bali are going to want to stay in the action. They'll want to stay towards the Canggu surrounding areas. And because of that, your average expat that's coming to live in Bali is probably looking at 5 to 12 million per month to live in a guest house. Now, how about that private villa? That experience we all dream of when coming to Bali. To get yourself a private 2 to 3 bedroom villa is anywhere from $1,500 on the low, all the way to $3,000 a month. Now, if we talk about your designer villas, the Instagram villas, those ones are going to cost a lot. There's really no ceiling to it. Now, the good news is if you're more in that backpacker style budget, you want to stay in a hostel, you want to meet people, you can do so for as little as $10 a day. So your monthly budget for accommodations should be around this range. Now let's talk about health and business. And this is an area that I wouldn't say has gone up in price too much, maybe 20-30%, which relative to some things isn't terrible, but it's never been affordable to start with. We've got co-work spaces, we've got some gyms, but for whatever reason, they've often been at par with Western world pricing, if not even more expensive. I mean, you can find a gym for $65 a month, but on the other hand, you can easily spend $250 to get access to some of the gyms that have a recovery center, so the range is pretty wide. And for many people that want to have a co-work space to work from, part-time access, it's like a minimum of $100. But for the more premium offerings and the unlimited 24/7 access, it's like $240 at some of the most premium co-work spaces. Now, how about those massages, right? Because in Canada, that would have cost like $90 to $100 for an hour treatment. In fact, I never had a massage in Canada. It's just too expensive. But when I came to Bali, I was like, yes, $5 massages, $7 massages. That's not existent anymore. This has doubled, sometimes even tripled. Now you're looking at $12 to $20 for a massage, but my comparison still tends to be on Canada and Western pricing, so I still don't find it terrible. But whereas I might have considered going every day back in the day, I wind it down a little bit and go maybe once a week now. This is about the monthly expectations. Now you've got your miscellaneous expenses, and these prices are as such. Other than the scooter you choose, there shouldn't be much of a differentiation from low to high. Now, the good news. If you don't know what Rosetta Stone is, it's pretty much the best way to learn a new language. You can use all sorts of different interactive activities, using images, audio, and all this makes learning natural and easy. Moi, je parle français. I speak French. And I can tell you one thing, learning it in school and learning it in France was two different things. And that's kind of what Rosetta Stone does. It's like that real world experience versus the theory. It not only makes it so much easier, it also makes it a lot more fun. Now, one of the coolest features has to be the voice recognition. With the press of a button, I repeat a sentence back to Rosetta Stone, and it actually corrects me on my accent. And that just makes learning a lot easier. Think of any language, it's probably on Rosetta Stone. If you've been dreaming about learning a new language, today's your day, because Rosetta Stone is actually 50% off. With that 50% off, I highly recommend their lifetime subscription. It's an amazing time to take advantage of that discount and keep learning new languages for the rest of your life. So let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about an expense you can't run away from. And if you are, then why are you in Bali? And that is going to be your travel and adventure funds. The really inviting thing about Bali is that you've been able to experience this island without spending a lot of money. You see, we've already factored in your scooter rental. So really, if you're gonna do a day trip down to 𝗬𝗦𝗕𝗏 to go surfing, your only expense is gonna be the fuel to get there, maybe some minor access fee to the beach, and a surfboard rental. All in all, 10 to 15 bucks, you've got a pretty solid day on your hands. You can have countless adventures, create amazing memories, and not really have to spend much money to do so once you're here in Bali. That's one of the beautiful, inviting things about this place. But maybe driving a scooter for hours upon hours just really isn't your thing. The safety or the comfort of it just doesn't make sense. Then one of my favorite ways to travel has been with Pancha, one of my best friends here on the island, with Bali customized tours. And to get a fully guided tour with lunch, with coconuts and water and fresh towels, you're looking at like $75 a person. Now, maybe the adventure isn't your thing. Maybe you'd rather sit around by a beach club, listen to good music, and enjoy some amazing food brought right to your daybed. That could be anywhere from $20 to $50 a person. It doesn't have to blow your budget. And if you want to go from the big island to the smaller ones like Nusa Penida, well, you can get away and have some amazing experiences for around 1.5 to 2.5 million. If you want to have some of the more luxury experiences, like staying in the Four Seasons Jimbaran, we're talking $2,000. If you want to see the south of Bali from the air with Balicopter, this is like 650 bucks. To To go paragliding, like $150. You're starting to see how there's massive variance, and how you travel is totally up to you. The thing I love about Bali is that to have your basic needs met, to have a room that gets you away for the weekend, doesn't have to be much more than $25 to $35. But for me, the sweet spot for travel and a weekend getaway is around that $150 to $200 a night price tag. And one of the recent trips that Ruby and I had was to 𝗧𝗦𝗧𝗦𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 did. We threw in a spa treatment and just enjoyed a break from Canggu. And I'll tell you why we needed a break in just a sec. Let me just say, Canggu's changed.
And look at this. This is so cool. Got a private pool. Where do these go, Ruby? Follow the trail.
Here.
Wow. All the way into a bathtub carved into a boulder. And that is how you do Valentine's Day. So we have a romantic dinner set up tonight. Wow. Thank you very much.
I am a real life princess living in my own fairy tale.
With your monthly travel budget being about this amount, shortly we're going to revisit how much it costs to live in Bali in 2023. But first, I want to talk about the changes of Bali. Now, the change in price has been drastic, but another big change that has everybody here in the community talking is the change in people. You see, our world is very interconnected. And as you know right now, there's a lot of unrest in Eastern Europe. And so with that, people have been fleeing from the Ukraine, from Russia, and they've come here to call Bali home. Truly, it's not hard to understand why. They have community here, it's a whole lot more affordable, and it's a lot safer. Now, this change over the last 6 months has been so substantial that people have been jokingly calling Bali Little Moscow. Just the other day, Ruby went to a yoga class that was taught in all Russian. Whenever I go to the sauna after a workout, the murmurs and chatter are in Russian. And most of all, there's been unprecedented demand for these tacky chrome glasses. Now, I'm not sure if this is a fashion choice or whether welding just got really popular all of a sudden, but in any case, there's been a lot of new people coming in. And because of this giant influx of people, there are too many people in Canggu right now, and Bali as a whole. And while the price change may disappoint a lot of people, the thing that is grinding a lot of people's gears right now is the traffic. You see, Bali is a series of narrow roadways, infrastructure that was never planned to grow to this level. And let me just say that right now, travel revenge is in full force. After a big lull in travel during the 2019 to 2022 years, there has been a rebound. And Canggu was not built for it. I used to contemplate having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. I love a lot of the restaurant scene over there, but now 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 is dead to me. I can't put up with the traffic. The term shortcut does not mean shortcut anymore. It means headache. Previously, that was about a 5-minute crossing. Nowadays, we're talking 15 minutes, and in terrible conditions, it could be 30. And if you're in a car, it could be 45 to an hour. To go from Canggu to the airport used to take me about 45 minutes. Now it's easily double. An hour and a half is no exception, and sometimes you're even looking at 2 hours in the worst of conditions. Now, another one of the changes is that it's become a lot easier to get in once you arrive at the airport. This is a very welcome change. They've recently done some renovations to the airport. It looks beautiful. I think they've improved their systems from my limited experiences of re-entry, and all the previous PCR routines have been dropped, so that's been wonderful. And after having seen the VOA, the visa on arrival, go dormant for basically the last 2 years, it's very nice to see that that is back in place. One of the fantastic changes is the new restaurants, the new paddle courts, the new gyms. People are building right now. It's like an arms race. And while that's also kind of back to why the traffic has gone so mad, it's also got its fair share of blessings with it. The reason I chose to live in Canggu and not the outskirts is because it speaks to my lifestyle. I like to have all these restaurants and all these activities within arm's reach. Just the other night, Ruby and I tried a new date spot and had this like 9-course Japanese meal. It was absolutely stunning.
I have not tasted anything like this.
And that's the cool thing about Bali, is that every single week it feels like there's a new restaurant. I don't really know how it's sustainable, but as a person living here, it makes life interesting. Another substantial change is in the areas right now. And a lot of people have been moving, as I said at the beginning of the video, and they're not leaving Bali, they're just changing locations. They've been going from Canggu, and they've often been moving down to the Bukit, towards Uluwatu, towards Unggasan, and the very, very up-and-coming Bingin. In fact, so many people fled from Canggu because of the traffic that now there's starting to become some traffic issues down in the Bukit, especially in Unggasan. But the cool thing is, it's not just the south of Bali that's getting all the love. I believe that in 5 years' time, this situation will hopefully alleviate, because right now there is a lot of development going on across the island. So where 𝗡𝗢𝗓 has been the heart of the expat community, you're starting to see people spread out a little bit. You're starting to see a lot of money poured into different communities like 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗢𝗦, 𝗡𝗢𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗔𝗑, which is where I have my community space for content creators to network and to live together. And it's been so cool to see the area of 𝗡𝗢𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗔𝗧𝗏𝗢 just thrive. You see, when I first opened Lost Creator House in 𝗡𝗢𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗔𝗧𝗏𝗢, it felt far from 𝗡𝗢𝗪. But one of the biggest changes right now is how rapidly Bali is expanding and developing in different areas. And just the other day, I threw one of the biggest parties I could have ever imagined with Nas at the Lost Creator House. And that is the beautiful thing about Bali.
It's so beautiful here, so many like-minded people, a lot of motivation. All of us here, we became friends.
The island of Bali is just as big as the community here. And so as these little hubs start to develop, I think the experience of being here is going to be better, and it's also going to spread some wealth to the locals in other areas. This video has probably felt a little bit heavy in some notes, and that's because it kind of is. The Bali I visited in 2015 is a nostalgic memory. It's a far cry from what it is today, but that Bali has set sail. And truthfully, it's become less suitable for some travelers. It's more expensive. It's gotten too busy in some places. And if you visit Bali and only see 𝗡𝗢𝗓, it probably won't give you the full experience you envisioned. But let me tell you who I still believe living in Bali will be well suited for. I believe that's digital nomads. I believe that's people who don't feel aligned with what's going on in the West. And I believe it's also well equipped for families who are looking to start a life where they can one day afford their own home. Right now, Bali is undoubtedly going through some growing pains, but with all the visionary businesses that are being built in differing parts of the island, I think this island's going to be more well suited for the growth in just a few years than it might be today. And so I do hope that one day this alleviates some of the traffic and the problems we're seeing today. Now, if you're a traveler and you want to visit today, is Bali still the place? Yes, it is. It's actually like the perfect travel destination. Spend a few nights in the chaos of 𝗡𝗢𝗓. It's got a lot of cool things to offer, but just don't expect 𝗡𝗢𝗓 to give you this. This is a big island and there's a lot to see, and a lot of people don't actually go out and see it. If you want endless rice fields, azul blue water, incredible adventures, I can help you with that. I've been here on this island for like 7 years now. I know it exceptionally well, and I'm actually right now working on building my in-depth travel guide. If you're visiting Bali, it is a perfect way to guarantee the trip of a lifetime. And if you're moving here, there's no better way to become an overnight expert on Bali. In this guide, I'll be sharing everything that I know, from authentic hideaways, amazing viewpoints, and the best restaurants on the island. If you want to be kept in the loop when it does go live, just check out that link down below. It's absolutely no commitment, but it might be a great way to figure out how to plan your trip. Bali has a little bit of everything, and it's up to you to find that. So, where am I in all of this change? As somebody that's currently building my dream home in 𝗡𝗢𝗓, do I regret that decision? No. Not in the slightest. Every now and then, I do catch myself missing the previous version of 𝗡𝗢𝗓, but at the end of the day, I don't know a destination that is a better fit for me. I continue to feel a deeper and deeper connection with the community here. I love the slow-paced life of the island with a bit of a fast-paced nature of 𝗡𝗢𝗓, and I love that I have a dozen coffee shops and a backyard with a waterfall. It just doesn't really get better than that. So yeah, I'm not leaving. 10 to 20 years from now, I envision myself growing a deep connection here with this island, with family. Every day I feel more and more like Bali is where I'm meant to be. But now let's talk about how much it's going to cost you to come and live on the island. Drumroll please. These are rough estimates, and obviously everything can vary so much. You can go under, you can go above. Now, no matter where you fall in that price tag, if you want to optimize your dollar to go further here on the island, then you'll definitely want to click on that link down below and be the first to be notified when my full Bali guide is launched. And I can't wait to help you out on your trip or your life here in Bali. I hope to see you around the island. As always, guys, let's get lost again in the next one.